Welcome to another episode of the Girl Power Alliance podcast. I'm so excited to share this young, vibrant, beautiful woman with you. Let me tell you a little bit about Mary. She is a social media coach who helps women entrepreneurs make a greater impact online. Who doesn't need that, right? She believes that everyone has a dream and that they deserve to be shared. That dream deserves to be shared with the world, and social media is just how we get to do that. Mary got started in social media management about 4 years ago and since has helped startups scale to 6 and 7 figures. Today, she lives in Naples, Florida, goes to OrangeTheory, I think a lot. I love OrangeTheory and the beach every morning, which is where she feels closest to the Lord. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here. I am so excited to talk to you today, Michelle.
I am too. And your hair is back in a ponytail, so we can't see all these beautiful purple locks. But it was one of the first things that I noticed about you. And you want to tell everybody a little bit about your hair and what you use your hair for?
Of course. Okay, so if you can kind of see, my hair is dark purple. It's not coming up super well on the camera. And then I also have tinsel in it. There's a couple different strands of tinsel in here. And I dyed my hair purple in the middle of quarantine last year because I was like, I'm bored. My balayage was all grown out. Like it looked bad. I couldn't go anywhere to get it redone. I was like, you know what? I'll just dye it purple. It'll be so fun. And it's so funny because I used to be the person who like hid in the corner. I didn't want my voice to be heard. I didn't think that I had a voice or a story, which is part of why I believe that everyone's dream deserves to be shared with the world. And so I dyed my hair purple. It was a huge step for me. And I actually use it as like a connector to make connections with people. People will come up to me all the time and be like, oh my gosh, your hair is purple, which is so fun just to get to like use my hair to meet more people.
It's just a perfect example of how we in today's world of business, we are our own biggest billboard.
Mm-hmm. We really are.
And it is noticeable. I mean, she's right. You can't see how vibrant it really is right now through the camera, but it is vibrant and it's long and beautiful. So when she walks into a room, she has this presence immediately, which I think is super fun. Well, I met Mary at the event that I've talked about a couple of times here on the podcast in San Antonio, and she was there as a participant. But were you there because have you been participating or attending Danny Johnson events? Is that how you know the crowd?
It is. So I've been attending Danny Johnson events for like 2.5 years now. But the reason why I was there is because of something that Summer said to me. Can I share it really quick?
Please.
Okay. So she shared this at the event, and I met Summer like I think 2 months. What the event was in July, and I met her I think in April. So I don't know, whatever the distance is between there. I walked up in the middle of a conversation with her and one of my friends. I like kind of met Summer, but didn't really know her. And she said to one of my friends, she said, do you know that fear is direct disobedience to God? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she goes, I don't know how I could be more clear. The Bible literally says, do not fear. And then she said some other stuff too. And I literally fell on the ground because in my head was going through all of the things that I hadn't done because I was fearful and all of the things that had held me back. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Let me tell you, I left that conversation with Summer and every single aspect of my life changed for the better because when that fear started to well up inside of me, that conversation popped into my head. I was like, all right, I'm going to do it scared. I'm going to do it anyways, even though I'm scared. And every single, like I shared my story for the first time after like never sharing it before, like reached out to friends, like business did better than it ever, like every single area, like became happier, like all of it. And so when she said that, I was like, all right, I'm going to be in that room. And she actually shared that story at the event as well, which I was really grateful for.
It's an amazing thing when, you probably had heard that many times before, but you weren't ready to hear it. And so the culmination of your own personal development, your own walk with the Lord in that moment, it was like it opened up for you. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to step into who you were designed to be. And I think that's kind of the journey of our lives here is to continue to step toward that person. And so that's super awesome. And I only connected with Summer literally like less than a month before, or about a month before the event. So it's funny how things happen like that. And so you've been doing, so you're young. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 23.
Okay, so you're 23. So you've said that you have been doing social media management for 4 years. So you started literally as a teen.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
I
yeah, I'd like to hear that story. Like, what guided you into that?
So it was my sophomore. It was right before my sophomore year of college. My mom posted on Facebook like, "Hey, my daughter's looking for a job for the summer. You know, make a little bit of extra money as like moms do, which is awesome." Um, and one of her friends who she had worked with in the past commented and said, "I just started a new business. I need someone to write blogs for me and run my social media." And we got on a call. It's so funny too because we literally got on this call and I like was not prepared at all because I was like, I don't know what to prepare. I don't know what to do. I think I rolled out of bed like 10 minutes before. Thankfully it was a phone call, so like didn't matter. We get on the phone and we're talking and he just like excited, like he's so pumped about this business. And he's talking about all the things that he needs and he was like, "Will you like partner with me? Will you do this? Like we're going to be helping like veterans like change their lives, all of that." And I said, "I have no idea how to write blogs or how to run a social media like campaign, but I'll learn." And he said, "Cool, you're hired." And I was like, "Oh no."
That's awesome.
So I used University of Google and like every other expert and like just figured it out. And it was incredible seeing that company grow and being able to like work with them and like truly help veterans like change their lives, help them get the support that they need. Um, so I did their social media for them. And then about 2 years into the conversation, I was their director of social media. I don't know how he hired a 19-year-old and decided that she should be their director of social media, but hey, it worked out. Um, he called me and he said, "You need to start your own social media agency." And I said, "What are you talking about? Like, this is insane." But at that moment, the worst thing that I could think of was that I would fail and I'd go get a regular 9 to 5. And I was like, all right, like that's the worst thing that could happen. And that's all that I could think of at the moment. And I was like, okay, I'll go for it. And so have been had my own agency, been taking on other clients in both done for you and coaching. Doing more coaching now because I can work with more people than done for you. Um, for a little over 2 years and solely doing that. It's been amazing. So fun, so many lessons. Like it's been incredible though.
That's awesome. That's a, it's kind of, well, when I was your age, there was no social media. So this is a career that has been created in the last decade, which is an exciting one. And what we like to talk about here at GPA and what we really like to promote is the fact that we entrepreneurs collectively, we women entrepreneurs, specifically here inside this community, we're not just entrepreneurs. We don't just work for the dollar. We work for, the kingdom. We like to have an impact on the kingdom in everything we do. And my personal belief is that through the marketplace, our interactions with people can even be more impactful than those interactions in the big C church, because there are some people that will never set foot in a church for a number of reasons, whatever the reason is, but they can see and feel and get an experience of who Jesus is through us in the marketplace. It's so powerful. It's such a powerful vehicle for us to use to, share the gospel. So I would love to kind of hear, because obviously you're a believer. The event that we went to was a Christian event, and we were always talking about Jesus. So I would love to kind of hear how you feel like your faith has either impacted what you're doing, either guiding you into it, or how you kind of manage the day to days as an entrepreneur in your business.
I think that if I did not have Jesus, I would not still be an entrepreneur. Like we'll just have that as like the blanket statement. um, One of the things that I talk about a lot with my coach is like the roller coaster of like just life, but also of business. You're at the high of like, getting to reach your goal or getting a new client or whatever. And then it's the low of like, hey, maybe this didn't come out the right way. Maybe you're frustrated, you're not hitting your goals. And like literally without Jesus, like I think it would be a lot more extreme of a roller coaster, or like I would not be in entrepreneurship anymore, but it's just so cool in that, and also like seeing how the Lord is able to show up. So seeing how like I'm a big believer in like I can share the Lord even if I'm not like talking about him, but in how I treat other people. So how am I loving other people? How am I showing up for this client? How am I responding in everything? And so it doesn't necessarily have to be coming out of my mouth, but it can be in all of my actions because again, it goes back to like actions speak louder than words. And so it's looking at that. It's like also knowing the fact that like I would not have any of this like without the Lord. Like the fact of like seeing how he's blessed me, seeing how he's blessed my clients, um, is just such a testimony to his goodness and like what he wants to do and what he's doing in the kingdom and in my life, our life, all of it.
Beautiful. I love to hear young women just on fire for the Lord. So my question for you then next is, do you market yourself as like a Christian social media coach, or is that part of your avatar that you're looking for?
So part of my avatar, like, yes, I am looking for women of faith. And I have not branded myself as that, but it's in my content. So I will talk about, like I shared that fear into faith story on my profile. I'll share different things that the Lord is doing on my stories. I will tell stories of what the Lord is doing through that, which has been really cool too, because I'll get messages from people and they'll be like what did you mean by that? Like tell me more. And I love when people just ask me questions because we can have that conversation and like build friendships with people literally all around the world. But what I really love is when I post like Bible verse or something that I'm learning about the Lord and somebody responds to that. And then I get to have those conversations. I don't care if they're going to be a client or not, but I love the fact that I get to like talk to them about it, see what their experience is, and then talk deeper about it.
So it's not a part of your personal branding, but it's such a big part of who you are that people know.
Hmm. Correct.
Very cool. Do you find that you have more clients that are believers because of that?
I think that's what I attract. Um, because it's like birds of a feather flock together. I've definitely seen that in the people who are like coming to me is like I know either through conversations or what they post that they are believers, which is really cool.
I love to do business with other believers and support their business. So
Hmm.
I get that. If I have a choice, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to make a choice just because somebody is a believer, unless the Holy Spirit tells me to. But in general, if I have a choice and I can support another Christian woman in business, then I love to do that. So I think that's awesome. What you're doing, I mean, the whole social media, it is such a blessing and such a curse as much as it is required. I believe it is required. It is a requirement of today's business. It doesn't matter what your business is, whether you are like a solopreneur in the service business or you have a brick and mortar. I feel like without a social media presence, like you really don't exist. I mean, it's sadly, I hate to say that. I mean, and that is just so weird because, I'm old and I grew up in the world of business where there wasn't such a thing, but I have people that ask me all the time, I don't have so and so wants to do business with me, but they don't have social media. How do I communicate with them? I'm like, well, they can't do the business that you're doing without social media. So, is that a conversation that do you encounter that with people like all levels, like people that they're killing it on social media and they just want to up level, and people that are like, I don't even have an Instagram.
Hmm. Yeah, that was a conversation that I had with a friend this past week. Is they were like, "Hey, like I don't have any social media. I don't even know where to start." Because like it's a blessing and a curse, and I think a lot of it is what do you choose to follow? What do you choose to look at? But it's so crazy because yeah, you need social media because what do we do when we hear about somebody? Like I think we
Every
connected
time.
first on Instagram,
Yep.
and then I was like, "Wait, let's get each other's numbers too."
Yep. I do it too. I mean, if somebody, let's just say they friend you or they follow you on Instagram, first thing I do before I do anything, I go look at their profile. I'm like, okay, who is this person? And
Mhm,
I know even in the traditional job world, they do it too.
mhm,
They'll take your resume, and resumes now are asking for your social media handles. They will go look at your social media and make a judgment on whether they want to interview you or not based on what they see on that social media feed. So, and I agree with you. you can kind of create social media that suits what you want to see for the most part. And it's kind of how it works anyway. The algorithm, like, what you spend time on, they show you more of that. So you can filter out things that maybe you're not interested in participating in, you know what I mean? You can have this completely bespoke social media, content that you're receiving. But you also get, subjected to other things. So it's just you have to have a balance, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, and, like, I'm a big believer in unfollowing people who don't fit your,
Yeah.
present and your future, because, like, hey, like, I love you, I'll bless you, like, support you, but either, like, you just need to unfollow or unfriend somebody because maybe they're being, like, negative and nasty and, like, they're bringing you down or whatever that is, and just figuring out what that looks like for yourself and knowing, like, "Hey, what can you do? What does this look like for you?" And again, my like boundaries with that are probably not going to be the same as yours, and that's okay. But also knowing that, like, hey, it can be a tool. Use it as a tool and don't like follow these people if they're like, just there's some people who choose to post stuff that I don't really want to see. So
I love the unfollow option. And people say to me, "Oh, did you see so and so?" Nope. I didn't. I followed that person a long time ago for my own mental health. The thing about social media that I think is such a benefit, especially in a world where we are so inundated with media, negativity, so many tragedies and things that we have the opportunity as believers to be a light. And I always try to teach this to the people that I work with and mentor, like, don't judge your success based on the algorithm. I mean, we have to exist in both worlds, right? We are human beings living in the natural world, right? So we have no choice but to exist there. But we as believers need to judge our kind of accomplishments by the kingdom's economy. So even though you're putting out content, sharing your heart, whatever, and maybe you're not getting the likes, the follows, but we know that the word of God never goes void. We know that we are planting seeds to impact other people's lives, and so it's this interesting balance that we have to continue, I think, to share with others and continue to tell ourselves, like, you're out there putting yourself out there, sharing, stories, how God is working in your life. And maybe you get like 2 likes and you're like, nobody even sees it. That means nothing in the kingdom.
and think about all the people who saw it but maybe didn't like it.
Exactly.
And, like, think about the people maybe they took a screenshot of it. Maybe they, like, took a screenshot of it and shared it with their mom who was going through a really rough time. Maybe, they, like, sent it to a friend, whatever, like, you don't know exactly, like, the Lord or the word does not return void, but also, like, you don't know the impact that it had on other people. Even with live video views, I do not believe that they are accurate because just in looking at it, I don't think that they're 100% accurate, and that's okay, but also knowing it's like the law of reaping and sowing. What are
Yes.
you reaping? Like, are you planting good seed? Are you putting out, like, a good message? Are you telling your story? Are you sharing, like, what the Lord has done in your life and other people's lives? Are you looking at all of that? Because that's really what matters, um, and being able to see that, and that is going to be sown. Did I say that? Yeah, reaping and sowing. I
Yeah.
think anyways.
Yes, you said it right.
Okay.
You said it right. So if somebody is listening to you and they're like, man, I think I need her, but I don't exactly know what she does. Why don't you give a little commercial for what it is that you do? Because I know you're doing both. You're kind of leaning more toward the coaching. So share like your commercial.
Share my commercial. I love that. Yeah, so at the beginning of 2020, I kind of had this realization that, like, I can do your social media for you, but it's always gonna have a little bit of my voice in it, even if I use your words, and it's like giving a man a fish versus teaching him how to fish.
Yes.
And so I learned how to create social media content on a very little bit of time. So I learned what are the things that you need to do in order to share your mission, share your dream with the world. And I teach other people how to do that. So either through like a self-paced program or through a 3-month coaching program, we work together and figure out what works for you. How can you make social media work for you? Because again, it's just a tool. There's a lot of different ways to use the tool, but using it, making social media social, because that's another thing that I'm really big on, is like relationship over the like business exchange
Yeah.
and also sharing your story. So yeah, I teach you how to make social media simple, make a bigger impact because really it doesn't have to be like scary or difficult or hard. It's probably just a couple little tweaks that you need to be able to make in order to be successful.
Love it. So it sounds like you have both a digital program that people can do on their own, and you have a program where they work directly with you, like one on one, face to face, or screen to screen.
Correct. Yeah, it really just depends on like where are people at in their journey and what do they need. Whether they need just like, hey, here are the steps. Now you can go implement it. And then you can talk to me in the Facebook group, or do you want to have more of that one-on-one conversation, talking through Messenger and like getting personalized? All right, talk about this, post this. Let's do this for your next launch.
I love it. Now, how can people find you?
On Facebook or Instagram. I'm gonna like hope I think yeah, my name should be spelt out on here. My last name is a little difficult to spell. But my name is Mary Deacetis and Facebook and Instagram is where I spend most of my time. Because I love both platforms. I do want to say this as well. I'm a big believer in turning your notifications off for social media. And so I don't have my notifications on. Um, and so if like it feels overwhelming to you and you're like, I just can't get like whether it's that kingdom work done, I can't get like my work done, I can't whatever, look at turning off your notifications as well. Because if our brain is constantly like getting the ding and getting stimulated and all of that, it's harder to hear the Holy Spirit. It's harder to hear like your kids. If you have kids, it's harder to like do all of the things. So I don't have any of my notifications on, so it may take me a minute if you send me a DM on Instagram, but I would love to connect with you.
That is a true nugget right there. I hope that those of you that are watching and are feeling like I hate social media, that one action alone can literally change the entire tone of your experience with social media if you're not constantly getting the notifications of somebody commented, somebody liked, somebody messaged. And then you just plan out your day that you're going to check it in the morning and the evening and like you're in control. This is what I try to tell people about social media. You're in control of it. You can watch it as little or as much as you want. You can post what you want. You don't, if you, oh, I'm more private, then still be private. You don't have to put all the inner workings of your life on there if that's not your personality. So that's amazing. That's such a nugget. Do you have a website that we can direct people to?
Yes. So my website is called thedreamers.co because my one on one coaching program is called Dreamers and Action Takers. Because, like I said, I believe that you get to dream big. I believe that the Lord plants big dreams on our hearts. And then it's time to take action towards them. So you can
Mm.
have a big dream, but unless you start to take, even if it's a baby step towards those dreams, they're never going to come true. So my website is called thedreamers.co.
That's amazing. And don't worry if you're driving or working out or listening to this podcast on a podcast platform, all of Mary's information will be in the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, just go right below the video and all of the information to connect with Mary will be in there. Reach out to her. I know that you love her. I told her at the event that she should change her Instagram handle to the girl with the purple hair or something because it's such a unique thing. I mean, people will remember, oh yeah, that girl that had the purple hair. And I mean, I guess that locks you in and maybe you don't want to be locked into the purple hair, right? Like usually because of my background in the beauty business, I have found that people that go to these really bold colors, they don't like to stay any one color for too long. So maybe you don't want to be locked in.
I don't know. I've had it for a year now. I kind of like it. Like I am literally known as like, oh, it's the girl with the purple hair. Like I meet people in airports all the time with it. I'm like kind of juggling in between. So maybe if you end up reaching out to me, let me know. Should I like change it? Should I go back to blonde, back to brown? Like just go like turquoise. I have all my turquoise stuff over here. Like
Have
my
you been
earrings.
turquoise?
What?
Have you been turquoise?
No, I've only been purple.
Awesome. That's fun.
Yeah. Would you
That's
ever
fun.
like dye your hair a crazy color?
I never did. I was literally the bit when I even in cosmetology school when all the girls are testing all these things and chopping all their hair. My hair has literally looked almost exactly the same for my whole life since high school. I've never done any crazy colors. I've never done any crazy haircuts. And I mean, you could pick out literally the only difference is like the style of my bangs based on what was popular at the time. My length has gone up and down slightly. And for a few years I had dark in the nape. I'm like wimp, but both my daughters were always way more bold than me. And my oldest daughter, literally, she, for her whole life until she moved out of the state, she'd sit down in my chair, whether it was at home or at a salon, and she'd be like, do whatever you want. So I got to do some fun things with her. Put in the 90s, we were putting big chunks of color in the hair. You're too young for that. But back in the 90s, it's like coming back, kind of these big pieces of color. So we did that. But my youngest daughter, she went to a private school, and they have all these rules, can't have colored hair. So every break, if it was Easter break or summer break, she did it. Like she's been everything except for black. She's been purple, teal, green, blue, pink. She's done everything. And she chopped her, like she had me do a pixie cut on her, which was, I'm traumatized from doing it. She's worn really long extensions. So my youngest one, I got to live vicariously through her with all the fun, crazy hair things.
Wait, that's so fun. And I feel like sometimes that's better, like she wanted it and wanted the crazy hair, and then you just got to like, execute it for her head.
Well, it's a wonderful way to express yourself. I think, I feel bad for people that don't get to do stuff like that because parents have rules like, oh, you can't do that. Like what a great way to express yourself, and kind of figure out who you are and what you like. And, hair is just temporary. So, well, it can be temporary, but the fun thing about doing stuff with your hair is you can always change it. So I always tell her, she's like, what if I don't like it? Well, we'll change it. So that's kind of a fun thing. Well, I just appreciate you. I appreciate you are extraordinarily, like the purple hair was standing. You are an extraordinarily vivacious girl that walks into the room, and you are an energy shifter. Like you have an energy about you that extends out to anyone around you. I appreciate that about you. I feel it when I see your social media. So it's not just in person. I felt it in the room when I met you in person. And I know that you're just going to be wildly successful. I'm excited to watch the journey that you're on and see what really incredible ways that God uses you in the marketplace and in people's lives. And I just appreciate you for being here on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I received that. That was incredible. Oh my gosh. GPA is like, I've been like going through all of your stuff. We met like 2 weeks ago. So I've been like stalking all of the groups, all of the pages. Michelle's talk was absolutely amazing. If y'all can go and look at her talk from the weekend, like, oh my gosh, it was incredible. So thank you. Thank you for having me on today and for what you're doing, literally changing the way that women show up in the world, in the marketplace, and in business, because it is truly creating, like, I was going to say ripple, but I feel like it's more of a tsunami because like that's way more intense. So I like it's creating a tsunami of this new change and the way that we get to do business, not that we have to, but that we get to.
Amen. I received that. And the dream that God planted in my heart is that we as women align. It's why the name of, Girl Power Alliance. It's this alliance of women. It's literally not about me. I don't ever want it to be about me. It's about all these women collectively that come together. And I like to call it supernatural synergy. Like you meet somebody, I get chills every time I say it. You meet and you connect with somebody. And when these women have these hearts that are aligned for the Lord, like synergy happens instantaneously. It's literally like this almost quantum leap of you just met and now you're best friends. It happened with me in summer. We just met and we're all like instantaneous connection. I felt it with you. And that happens, I believe, in the body of believers because Christ is drawing us together so that we can draw others to him. And it's just an exciting thing. I hope you'll come back and just keep updating us as you add things to your repertoire as an entrepreneur. And if you have new things to launch, come back and do another podcast, and feel free inside of the Girl Power Alliance Facebook group. You're on Facebook. Then just go live in there. A lot of groups have all these rules like only post on this day and don't promote yourself. I just rebuke that. And I want all the women to go in there and promote themselves and connect with other women. And so feel free to do that inside there. And we'll see what God does.
Oh my gosh, I love it. God's so cool. I love it. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Amen. All right. Thanks, girl.